What's up, guys? Thanks for checking out my channel. My name's Chandler Short. I'm currently in San Diego, California, just making a quick little video on how to reinvent yourself when you might not know how to start, or maybe you're a little scared or fearful to start, or maybe you just are watching this video because you're curious about what it is that I'm going to chat about. In today's video, I want to share 5 things about how to reinvent yourself. If you have any questions, or maybe you're a little curious about more details that maybe I didn't mention in a video, please drop a comment below. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I'm trying to keep my videos as brief as possible just because I know that you have a busy life, and ultimately I want to make videos that inspire people to go out and live their best lives. If you want to hit that like and subscribe button, I really do appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Every morning, the first thing I do when I wake up is I go for a walk or I work out and I move my body. Every morning when I wake up, the first thing I do is I go for a walk in the neighborhood or I move my body with some type of exercise. Right when I'm done, and this is the key step that I start my day with every single day, is I write 5 things that I'm grateful for every morning. Literally just write in a journal. 1, I am grateful for water. 2, I am grateful for my friends. 3, I am grateful for coffee. 4, I am grateful for my girlfriend. 5, I am grateful for the sun. When you're writing down what you're grateful for, it can feel extremely forced, and your brain is in a very vulnerable state when you first wake up. And so the goal with this is to program your brain to do something positive, to allow yourself to be grateful for the things that you have in your life and not think about the negatives. Number 2 on the list is to move your body. No matter what kind of life you're living, no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, every single day you should move your body in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be a strenuous exercise or running a marathon or biking 10 miles like I did this morning. It could be as simple as going for a walk around your neighborhood, gardening. First thing in the morning, you're feeling kind of groggy and you just wake up feeling like crap sometimes. And the best thing when you're feeling like crap is to actually get outside, get that fresh air, breathe in the natural oxygen that's around you, look at the flowers, look at the trees, soak in the natural environment around you. It doesn't matter where you are or what resources you have, everyone can move their body for free. I personally love to work out outside because the fresh air, I love to cycle, I love to run. So these are things that I can do outside without having a gym membership. Now, if you're the type of person who likes to pay for a gym membership and that motivates you, and you like to drive and commute to a gym and that allows you to have a better workout, by all means, you should do that. I think it doesn't matter what you do in terms of exercise, but my perspective on working out is it's not about how you look, it's about how you feel. The purpose of moving your body, the purpose of exercising is to just feel better. It's not to look better. If you're chasing looks, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have big muscles, but you may be wondering, how does exercise connect to reinventing myself? To give you an example, when I was training for my first marathon, I went for a long run. It was about a 10 to 15 mile run. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, but in that moment, all I did was focus on that run. And during that run, I had this moment, maybe it was because I was on an empty stomach, I had this runner's high, this euphoria that came through me that felt like I had a higher connection with a God or spirit or whatever you want to call it. There was a connection to a higher power that I felt during that run. It really just spoke to me in ways that I can't even describe into words. You need to put aside all your fears, all your worries, all your doubts, all your anxieties, whatever you're dealing with, put that aside. You're meant to help people. And that's what this power was telling me to do. And I had grown up with chiropractic, but I had always pushed it away my whole life. So it was really interesting because at about 24 years old, I had this coming of moment, this circular moment where I connected with what I had grown up with my entire life, which was chiropractic. It was a really profound moment when I knew that chiropractic was the route that I wanted to do for a career path, but that would have never happened had I have not gone for a run and moved my body. I like to just be out in nature, listen to the natural sounds around me. A lot of times I find the most connection and my best ideas when I disconnect. The third thing on the list is to try things that you might not be 100% sure that you even want to do. Now, let me rephrase that. Let me try and clarify what I mean by that. I think there's a lot of value in trying things that you don't necessarily love or that you might not even be 100% interested in. A lot of times our brains want to judge things very quickly. The cliche, never judge a book by its cover, is honestly, in a lot of ways, I've found that to be very true. I try not to judge things without actually experiencing them. Until I've actually sat down or until I've actually tried that thing, I can't judge it until I try it. Just to give a few examples, you could go out to a new restaurant and try something you've never tried before. You could try a new hobby. It could be cycling, running, hiking, surfing. You could read a book that you've never read before. The thing about trying new things is you have to let go of the idea that you're going to be really good at it right away. Just to give you an example, when I got into chiropractic school, I thought it would come really easily. And the reality is, it took me at least a year to feel somewhat comfortable in palpating someone or being hands on just in practice in school. But it took me some time to get used to the feeling of being hands on with other students. It wasn't until I just kept doing it over and over again that I was like, oh, I learned something new here. This is clicking now. And I'm actually enjoying the process now of being hands on and just learning more and more about the human body that I never even knew or thought was possible. Another reason I love to try new things is because by trying new things, you're able to find out really quickly what you don't like. I dropped out of college for the first time. I came home. I got a restaurant job because my parents were like, you're not just going to live at home, you're going to get a job and you're going to work. So I went and got a job at a restaurant and I absolutely hated the experience. Most of the time I was pretty miserable, but it was good money and there were good tips for the most part. There were a few times when people straight up slashed my tips. That's part of the industry, that's part of the experience. It sucked, but it made me realize I never want to work in a restaurant ever again. It's not for me. There were people who were working in the restaurant industry for many, many years and they loved it because every day was different. But I personally knew that that job just did not resonate with me. The point of that story is try things you don't necessarily like. Get a job, maybe even that you're not 100% sure about, even if you're like, oh, I don't know if this fits me. Because the reality is once you get involved in this thing or this job or this opportunity, you're going to experience things that you love and you're also going to experience things that you hate, but it'll help you narrow in your focus on what it is that you want. I remember this one moment in the restaurant when I was walking to a table with some food. On the plate was like a nice grilled salmon, and there was a ramekin filled with tartar sauce in it. And I remember walking to this table, ready to give this older lady her meal, and another server assistant came and collided with me. It was a full on, I had no chance to get out of the way. It was just, I was coming around the corner and boom, he hit me like that. I managed to hold on to the plate, but the little ramekin filled with tartar sauce flew off my plate and eventually bounced off our floors because they were made of some material that was like slip resistant or like had some padding, and the ramekin ended up bouncing off the ground, going all the way over to this lady's table, and there was a tiny hole in the back of her chair and the ramekin flew right through the hole and she didn't even notice that the tartar sauce was on her back. And I felt terrible, panicked, and went to the back of the kitchen right away. My manager came by and was like, what just happened? And I told him the tartar sauce, it flew onto this lady's back. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, should I tell her? And being the good manager that he was like, don't worry about it. I know you're new. I'm going to go take care of it. And I eventually went to the table and apologized and said, hey, I really made a mistake and I didn't mean to drop that on you. And the lady at the table ended up being really nice. We were both laughing together. And so it ended up being a funny experience that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. I'm grateful for all those moments, whether or not they were good ones or not. They all taught me something. And it's good to just be open to new experiences and try things that you might not necessarily want to do or that you're not 100% sure about, because chances are you're going to learn some things. The fourth thing that I want to talk about is meditation. There's a lot of reasons why I meditate, but the reason I would put it on this list of things to do in order to reinvent yourself is because meditation allows you to quiet your mind when life gets extremely busy. It's an extremely powerful experience when you're able to just sit with yourself in silence for 15 to 20 minutes. And if you can do that every day and just fit that into your schedule, either in the morning or in the afternoon, at lunch, or even at nighttime before you go to sleep, that quietness allows your brain to rewire itself, calm itself down, be in more of a parasympathetic rest and digest state of mind, which allows your body to heal and it allows your body to form new neural connections that you didn't even know or think were even possible. There's many reasons why I meditate every day, but the real reason is to reset my brain from the constant chatter or the constant connection in the network that's always surrounding ourselves. The more you practice your meditation, the easier it will get. It was really hard for me at first to meditate for 5 minutes. If you're consistent with it and you start out with doing 5 minutes a day, gradually you can build up to 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes, even an hour. I experienced a car accident about 4 years ago that really shook me up and created a lot of tension in my body and emotional trauma and baggage that I have struggled with for the past 4 years. Until recently, I actually was able to meditate on this. I'd been experiencing these symptoms of back spasms and stabbing pain and deep agonizing pain in my upper back and neck, and I couldn't figure out how to combat this issue. I've been going to chiropractic school, I've been doing all the right things. Why is it that I'm still feeling this pain in my upper back? And it wasn't until I had a really profound, deep meditation where I was able to actually realize that I'm creating the pain in my head. It's not even there, but because I haven't dealt with the emotions, because I pushed it under the rug many years ago and just said, oh, it's just an accident, no big deal, even though I was rear-ended at 50 miles an hour by a Suburban and I was in a small little VW Jetta, I had a concussion, I hit my head on the windshield, and being the tough guy that I thought I was, I just said, no big deal. And by not dealing with that trauma, it resurfaced into something greater and it became a chronic issue for me. And it wasn't until recently that I was able to dive deep into a meditation, a guided meditation by a program that I'll talk about later in another video. There was this moment where I realized I've created all the pain. It's not there. This was created, and that I had been holding on to this feeling for quite some time. And it took me 4 years to realize that a lot of our pain, a lot of our suffering is mental. Yes, there are things that we deal with that are physical, that need to be addressed physiologically, but a lot of times there are pains and there are emotional traumas that we haven't dealt with that manifest into our physical bodies. And until we deal with those emotional traumas, face those things head on, we won't be able to move past those physical pains. So before you decide to make all these big changes in your life and go on this journey of reinventing yourself or wanting to change something in your life, it's a great idea to focus on your own healing journey before you jump into something that's going to bring more added stress to your life. So to put it simply, you could say the reason that I meditate is to put my body and my mind and my soul in a state of ease to where I'm able to live my day-to-day life free of pain, free of suffering. I want to be able to do things for people and help those around me, but how am I going to be able to help those around me if I can't even help myself? So, first, you have to serve yourself before you can serve others. And part of that process for me is meditating every day for at least 15 to 20 minutes. The last thing that I want to mention on this list is to surround yourself with people who support you, people who are there for you even when you might be changing and evolving. Now, a lot of times when you start changing and you start reinventing yourself, there's going to be people in your life, probably your close friends and family, who think you're crazy, who think you've lost your mind. People don't necessarily like change. Change is really hard, not only for the person who's trying to make change, but also the people in your inner circle of people who you love and trust are going to look at you like you're crazy, like maybe you've lost your mind, whatever it is. But change is a good thing. If you're surrounded by people who don't support you or don't support your change and your evolution in life, you might have to have these hard conversations with these people who are in your inner circle and be like, hey, I'm going through some changes. Like, I want to try this thing and I'm just asking for your support. And one of the best things that you can do to work on this issue is to just confront it head on. Especially when you're living with roommates or you're living with a lot of different personalities, what I've learned is by simply communicating, not getting angry, not getting defensive, not coming at the person because you're frustrated or angry, but simply saying, hey, this is how I feel about this. And I just want to have a conversation and I want to change. I want to adapt and evolve as a person. And I want to grow. And I have these goals that I'm working towards, but I can't really do that if I don't feel like I'm getting support from you. New things will come up for you where you're like, oh, like I didn't realize that I wasn't showing any interest and I wasn't caring about you either. So it's like by having this conversation with the ones that surround you, with the ones that you love, the ones who support you, I think you can get a lot of clarity and that will only help you on your trajectory to becoming the person that you want to become on this route to reinventing yourself. I know that was a lot of information. If you're still watching this video, thank you so much for checking out my channel. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already done so. My plan for this channel is to continue making weekly videos that I'm passionate about, that are involved in business and personal development, because those are things that have helped me in the past. And ultimately, I just want to share what I've learned through little experiences here and there and little tips and tricks that I do in my life to live the best life that I'm currently living. And I just want to say before I end this video, I'm by no means perfect. I don't have all the answers to life. I don't even like to give advice, but I know that YouTube has changed my life in so many ways by watching other creators who've simply made videos of themselves vlogging and doing little things. If those videos were able to change my life, I know that I can create videos that will change other people's lives. It's not even about the views. It's not about the money for me as to why I'm creating this channel. I honestly just love to create content and I love this creative process and this creative journey. And that's something that I honestly wake up every day and I'm like, oh, what video can I make now? Like, what can I create? Last night I was watching a documentary on Mr. Beast, one of the most famous YouTubers in the world. Mr. Beast didn't even care about the money that he was making. It was never his goal to be a multimillionaire. Of course, he knew that if he made more money, he could help more people. He just loved the creative process of making videos, and that's something I share and feel very passionate about myself, is just making videos and putting something out there. And I think that YouTube is just such a cool platform in that regard. This is my way of sharing my thoughts, sharing my experiences. And through this process, if you've learned something from me or learned what not to do or whatever, then I've done my job and I appreciate you checking out my channel again. One thing I like to ask of my audience is if you got any takeaways or you learned anything beneficial from this video, please drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and get back to you and connect virtually.